Go podcast. I'm Matt Jordan. I'm the senior pastor here at First Methodist Church Enterprise. And today we have a very special podcast episode. You'll notice we're not in the podcast room, and we're also not in a garage, despite the tin behind me. We are actually upstairs in the youth room, and this is where our youth worships week in and week out on Sundays and Wednesdays. And it's also a little bit of a larger space for us because today we have a panel that we're going to be asking questions to from the Christian mission staff, and we have everybody here today, and so it's going to be really, really exciting. The Christian Mission is an organization that is special to my heart, but also to our church, as we have multiple members on their board, and it is also a mission that we work hand in hand with week in and week out, both through our Celebrate Recovery ministry and through our Mercy Fund, and the way we can do more ministry together. I think a lot of people don't understand quite the whole story of what the mission does, how it operates, how things exist within their ministry and program, and what they do to assist other people. And so Amanda Simmons, the executive director, and I had a conversation, and she said, hey, what if we did a Q&A? And I said, great, what if we did it on the podcast? And so we put two and two together, and we hope this is going to be a great episode for you to enjoy. I do ask that you share this episode with anybody and everybody. Especially as we know the shutdown has been painful for so many people, and there may be those looking for help, and there are a lot of people that are looking for ways to serve. Just in the past week or two, I've had multiple people reach out to me. Hey, do you know of any soup kitchens during Thanksgiving? Hey, do you know where I can take canned foods and where I can take non-perishables to folks in need while SNAP benefits in and the shutdown's going on? What are areas that are, what are ministries that are doing things? And so it can be some significant ways that you can help if you listen to the podcast and learn. So we've got some questions that we're going to ask them. But the first thing we're going to do is give them a chance to introduce themselves, tell a little bit about them before we dig into the questions. So mission staff, I'm going to turn it over to you, let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yes.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Okay.
Your turn.
Well, I'm Lisa Eller, and I am the benevolence counselor at the mission. I've been there for 3 years now.
Awesome.
And I'm Maria Arledge, and I'm the receptionist at the mission. And I've been at the mission for 28 years in December.
Not that anybody's counting.
Not everybody's
I'm Amanda Simmons. I'm the executive director, and I have been with the mission for 10 years.
Wow. My name is Randy Cornett, the director of production bargain store operations. I've been with the mission for 11 years.
My name is Brad Boykin. I'm the men's counselor and interim director for New Life Recovery, and I've been with the mission for 3.5 years.
Awesome. Well, first thing we want to do is there's a program that's a part of the mission that I would assume everybody knows about. Some may not. But it's a large program here in the area called New Life that really focuses on recovery. So can y'all tell us a little bit about what New Life Recovery is and how it works?
I could tell you something about it.
Yeah.
I come through this program. You know, I knew Jesus, but I didn't know the right way. You know, it has taught me a lot of things. I come in here in handcuffs. If it wouldn't have been for the New Life and Brother Johnny's dream, I would have been out in the streets because I just was lost completely. And it showed me a whole new way of life. And that's why I'm here, because I want somebody else to get a little bit of what I got from working for the mission and going through the New Life program.
That's awesome.
So the New Life Recovery Program is a 6-month inpatient residential recovery program for men and women. It's at zero cost. It's a work study program, so they work in the warehouse or in the other forms of ministry that we have during their time there. And that's time is split between working as well as study programs. So we go through a Christ-centered 12-step program as well as Road to Freedom class, anger management and communication. Let's see, family dynamics, life plan. Anyhow.
That's great. Can you tell me a little bit about what the Road to Freedom is?
Yeah. So Road to Freedom is our introduction, kind of like a half step before step one. So it's the introduction to the gospel, introduction to freedom from addiction, freedom from sin, introduction to who God is, why we should believe, who Jesus is. creation, kind of in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. We start at the very beginning and go through from there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So knowing what New Life is and all that it offers, my understanding is there's 3 phases of the program. Can you walk us through those three phases and kind of how that looks?
Sure. So clients can come in phase 1. Phase 1 is pre-admit phase, as pre-admit status. That's where they come in either before a class starts, or after the class starts, before the next one starts. During that time, they go to daily devotions, and during the morning and at night, they go to Celebrate Recovery here at First Methodist. They still participate with devotions, counseling. They have all the benefits of the program, with everything except for the actual classwork.
Okay.
And then after phase 1, once the class starts, they'll go into phase 2, which is their actual 12-step program, where we go through the 12 steps and the other classes. After that, it's a 6-month program. After graduation, they go into phase 3. Phase 3 is our aftercare program. We have transitional living. The transitional living is for men and women. It's at a minimal cost compared to what rent is here at Enterprise. I mean, a very small amount. If you've ever tried to rent around Enterprise,
It's true.
it's insane. But it's an opportunity for people to put money back into a transition fund that we hold for them, so that they can have something to transition beyond recovery or beyond New Life into the world beyond here. During that time, though, they're still doing random drug screens. They're still going to recovery meetings. We meet with them every week. There's still accountability. So they're still a big part of New Life, but not completely outside of the program. And also during that time, they're allowed to get a job outside of the program, to where they're able to work, put money back from themselves, and then also contribute to the mission and help pay that way.
That's great. That's great. So when someone goes through those phases and they go through aftercare and all that, you've mentioned the word classes. How do those classes work? I mean, I know I always love when I come in to do the devotion on Wednesday and see all the class pictures up and those sorts of things, and get to participate in the graduation. But how many classes do y'all do a year? How does that work?
Yeah, so we have 2 classes a year. They're run 6 months consecutive. So let's see, the class we currently have graduates January 16th of 2026, and the next one will start February 2nd of 2026. They're 24 weeks, 6 months, 24-week classes. We go through the Bible beginning to end, really, by the time it's over with the whole purpose of helping them to see addiction as a sin problem and not just a disease or a choice. I mean, it is a choice, but it is a sin problem. Helping to see from a Christ-centered point.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and you mentioned that this is a no-cost program.
Yeah.
Now, I've been in ministry a long time, and I know no-cost programs still cost money.
Sure.
So how is New Life paid for? How is that funded? How are you able to offer that at no cost?
Yeah.
So New Life is a work study program, and the work that they do in the warehouse, we like to call give days. Not only does it help to offset that cost of offering them a free program, but it also gives them opportunity to learn work skills. But some of these people have never held a regular job before. Some of these people do not know how to navigate situations with supervisors or lines of authority. So it is a great opportunity because our goal is to minister to them physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So that's where the whole work study kind of gets encapsulated. But, so at the beginning of a new class, you can see it. Randall and the warehouse people feel it because they got a bunch of people that work real hard, not really wanting to work. But you can see as they get up further along in the steps in their class, when it starts clicking and they're ready and they have that understanding what it really means to have a relationship with Jesus, and they want to start in that walk with him. And they start seeing that the work that they're doing in that warehouse is bigger than themselves. It's not even just about paying their way, but paying the way for other people, paying a way for Lisa to be able to help pay light bills or put somebody in a hotel or to buy food for our food pantry. I think it's a big, big thing that a lot of people don't quite understand or grasp unless we just really kind of paint it out very detailed on the work side of it, because they're they're volunteering in our warehouse. They're riding on that truck to go pick up those in-kind donations. They're in our kitchen serving those hot meals for those people that walk up, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And during those times, they get to see where that kindness and that love of Jesus Christ, that gesture of, we're here, and we're all in this together. And once that clicks in their head and their mind, and they are just sold out to it, it's really a beautiful, beautiful picture of that whole process. If I answered that.
That's awesome.
There you go.
That's awesome. So,
Let me add to that.
Yeah.
Just yesterday in class, the clients were telling me that they were working out behind their warehouse in the furniture area, and there was a young lady walking down the railroad tracks, barefooted, trying to walk on the railroad ties, trying to dodge the rocks, obviously hurting. And they called one of the work supervisors who got permission to just give her a pair of shoes. Like, it's little things like that. You know, they were telling me how good they felt being able to give back to somebody in the community, and they've never had that opportunity before.
man, that's great.
It's just a way that they can give to other people that they see coming from the same area they've left.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I tell you, you know, I helped a couple of people get into New Life, and there was one who had been through New Life many, many years ago, and needed to come back, and he was so hesitant. He was like, "Man, I don't know if I can. I'm embarrassed. I don't know if I can get back in." And he looked at other places, and his insurance would not pay to go to another type of in-treatment rehab and those sorts of things, and it's a high cost. So what is the per year cost, just on an average, of what it costs to run New Life, just to have New Life happen?
$280,000 a year, and that's probably low balling. So, and the income New Life brings in about $35,000. So, if you do the math there, if it wasn't because of those bargain stores and the efforts and the labor and the volunteering and God just blessing us through generous people supporting us with those in-kind gifts, that our staff works very hard to bring back to, Randall can go a little more in detail, to bring it back to the most valuable position it can be to be sold through those bargain stores. We wouldn't be able to do what we do at New Life or to offer that program. So, because most of these people, when they come to us, they have nothing but the clothes on their back. They have burnt all the bridges. They have nothing at all. Just like Randall, I too am a former New Life alumni. So I know how powerful and great that program can be when an individual comes and they're just as committed to that walk as what we're offering to them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
It's something else. A lot of people that like you was talking about, they got to understand they're not a drug addict, they're sinners, right? You know, and everybody can be forgiven, and everybody that walks this earth is a sinner.
Yeah,
we just had a different sin, right? You know, if God can forgive me, He can forgive anybody that walks through this place.
That's right.
You know, and that's what I had a hard time understanding. I didn't think He would ever forgive me for what I had done, you know, because I didn't really understand.
Yeah.
You know, and boy, He made a believer out of me.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
You know, and every day it's that way.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, even though you don't ever have every day perfect, it's just not happening. You know, everybody thinks you get off drugs, everything's perfect. That's not true. You have life every day, and you have to believe in the Lord to walk you through that, you know, and to keep you straightened out.
That's right. That's right. Well, let me ask this next question, kind of two-phase. How does someone get into the program, and what are the biggest challenges they face when they begin the program?
So to get in the program, they need to go, well, a couple of ways. One, they can go to the website, newlifeenterprise.org, fill out an application from there. It immediately comes to us. We review the application, and then we can reach out to them that way. If they want to call directly, we can do it over the phone. They can come in person, sit down with us, and we'll do it that way. Just reach out to us.
Yeah.
Make contact. We're willing to sit down and talk with anybody, even if you're not looking to come into the program. You just need somebody to talk to. We'll work with you, whatever we got to do to help. Biggest challenges our clients face coming into the program is breaking the mentality of the label the world has put on. Like I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner. We all are. We're all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. We have all fallen short. But all of their lives, they've been told, you're an addict, you're a dopehead, you're a crackhead, you're a pothead, you are this. And after a while, you believe that is your identity, and it breaks you. You get to the point you believe that that's what you are, and so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You decide that's what you'll always be. That's what you're going to continue to do. When you have clients that come into the program that believe that's what they're going to be and who have come from homes where they haven't had the best authority, family that either used, abused, manipulated, mistreated, they don't have a good idea of authority in their life, or the authorities they have dealt with weren't because they wanted to deal with them. I mean, the authorities may have sent them to new life in the first place, right? So it's really hard. They come in with this mentality of, I don't want to be here. I don't need to be here, and I'm not going to change because the world's told me I am this and I will always be this. We hope, we pray, we love on them, we work with them, we show a lot of grace so that the Lord can work on their heart and touch them and soften them enough for them to see there is hope. They can change, that they do need to be there. The biggest struggle they have is themselves.
Yeah. What I found when I come through, and it was the hardest thing for me, was honest. Getting honest. Well, I had to get up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror and say, that's the problem. Not blame it on this one or that one, because I could blame everybody for everything. But once I got where I could look in the mirror and say, there's my problem, and then it started clicking a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
Got to all those years, everybody wakes up and says they want to be a drug addict. It usually starts at an early age with trauma. And then it grows into resentment and anger, and then it grows into justification and numbing yourself and running through that stuff. And so when you're God is sitting you still at this program, and we're asking you to open up these wounds and it's like scrubbing out the infection. You know what I mean? That's probably a nasty, but it's truth. And they're having to do that, and that stuff's raw. And they're having to face that stuff. And some of them, it's hard for them to do that. And some of them give up before it's finished. And we just pray that these seeds that are being planted, we pray that for those that came through the program that are still at the mission, that their testimony speaks loud enough where they can understand, like, we walked in your shoes. We know. I too came in handcuffs. I understand it. God loves you, and you've got a purpose. If you just submit yourself, take it one day at a time, God is going to make a way, and he's going to give you the strength. And all those relationships, those babies that you abandoned, all those things, God is going to heal those, or he's going to guide you through it in a way that you never thought was possible. He's going to give you your heart's desires that you didn't even know you wanted. So
a lot of them are coming in for the first time too, clean sober for the first time in years. And so all of the emotions, everything they're dealing with, they've numbed for so long. This is the first time having to deal with it clean, and they can't numb. They don't know how to react, and it becomes emotional vomit. Like, they don't know how to control them, and it just all comes out at once. And we have to learn how to love them regardless of how they act. Just learning to deal sober is hard.
Start letting that wall down that they've put up, and it's them in their protection for all their life. Or to even trust and believe that what we're doing is genuine and of the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people that come through, they've gone through so much that they don't feel like anybody loves them. They're not worthy of being loved. And I think the most important thing for us as employees is to break that, is to love them in such a way that they know the love of God, and they can learn of the love of Christ just because of how they are treated here. So it's very important for us as individuals and as employees here to show that love of Christ and let them know that, no, you are worthy and you are loved. And I think that's very important. And I think we do that very well here. In the 28 years that I've been here, New Life started in 1998, and I started in December of 1997. And So I've seen a lot of classes come through here, and for the most part, the ones that are very successful have found that love of Christ while they've been here.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Well, how can someone that's listening to this or from the outside in, how can they support New Life? How can they, I mean, the mission, we're going to talk about today, all the different facets, but with the aspect of New Life, how can they support? How can people be involved to help?
So we always need contributions for deodorant of all things. Like it is
Just the men's, right, Brad?
yeah.
Do that dormitory one time.
But that is probably like when you talk about hygiene products, that is the one that we probably need the most. So, but hygiene products are the things that our clients find themselves needing. You mainly mentioned when they come to us, they come with just clothes on their back sometimes. A lot of them are indigent. They don't have family to support them, friends. They've burnt bridges, and they come in without any financial support of their own. So we go through a lot of deodorant, but we go through a lot of just the basic hygiene products. So those donations are great. Of course, financial contributions are always great. We're the most expensive ministry the mission has. And I don't know that I'm proud of that or not, but I'm proud that she keeps us around, right? But on top of that, we do have devotions. We're always looking for pastors, laymen, somebody to help lead devotions. We're looking for people to pour into the clients. We do devotions on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. I believe on Wednesday and Thursday nights, they're still cycling some people through there for those. Especially if a church wants to come and bring music and a pastor to do those, we'd be glad to have it. We
always need people to sign up for life story.
to listen to our clients' life stories. I'm constantly needing somebody to transport clients to Dothan, to Love in Action, to go see about medicine, to visit the clinic there, to go to court, to transport the clients to court. I'm the only male that's in New Life, and I can't be in the classroom and teach and transport. So I'm always in need of those things.
Great.
Another big thing, and I'll just throw this out, when these individuals come, thanks to a wonderful retired doctor, Dr. Sawyer, he comes on site on Mondays and he sees our clients. And so that helps us from having to run to Love in Action. But a lot of times our people, they haven't seen a doctor in years and years, and blood pressure medicine, all these different things that they need. They don't have the money for it. And like Brad says, sometimes the numbers, math doesn't math, but God always provides. So they come in, they don't have their IDs, they don't have a copy of their driver's license. I mean, we have to help them get everything and prepare them, because the closer they get to graduation, we want to help them start looking for jobs. Not only do we help them start looking for jobs, we also try to connect them with churches, whether they're going to stay here locally or go into a different city or a town. So I think it's also important to tell the community that we want our clients to experience the different churches in our area, to find out where they're feeling led and fed, because right now it's about a relationship with the Lord. But when they leave us, it's going to be about religion and where that fits in. And so we're always wanting different churches to come in and just spend some time with them.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you want to volunteer, we'll find a place.
Amen. Amen. Well, a bit of a shift for us. So, we know New Life is a phenomenal program. And again, my assumption is a lot of folks know about it, but they may not. But one thing that everybody does know about is the bargain centers and the bargain stores. So talk us through some of that, about what sort of things are sold there. Is everything donated? Just give us some insight on those. Let's start with how you get your items.
Well, we run a truck 6 days a week. Okay. Everything is not donated at the Christian Mission. We purchase truckloads every week. We're out of Florida, different other Christian missions.
Not Christian.
Not Christian mission, but excuse me.
Thrift stores.
Thrift stores.
Clothing from thrift stores.
But but yeah, and then we bring it back in and we sort it and plate it, fix it, and bring it into our stores, you know. And with the support of the people around here, we get a great support out of people around here for donations, you know, but it's still not all. People just don't realize the cost we have, you know, because you run one of them trucks, it's not cheap. And every year we have to buy a set of tires because that's as long as we get out of them. 1 year out of a set of tires. Our cost is, you know, that's really high because we try to spend every dime we got, we put more into giving away. You know, I think we do what we live off of 30 cents on the dollar. 70 cents of every dollar goes back into the communities.
Back into
To the services. Yeah. So we live off of 30 cents. That's not a whole lot with as much moving parts as we have.
Yeah.
You know, we have very few people so that we can keep the costs down and give away more. That's what, you know, and that's what really got me because when I was going to leave, I was going to go back to my old job because I made a lot more money, you know, but I found out it ain't all about money. And I found out what they really give away, you know, I just heard that, but I didn't see it. Now that I see it, I really understand it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, I know the bargain stores is about the only revenue coming in directly within the bounds of the mission. So outside of independent giving. So, what percentage of the budget for the entire Christian mission is funded through the bargain stores?
That's where that 77%, about 77% of our budget is funded through the bargain stores. We love contributions and independent giving and finding grants. It's hard to find a grant that the money can go for operational expenses, but that's why the model of our rescue mission was set up in such a way because one thing that is consistent is the sales in the bargain store. And I think it's important to, you know, educate people in the community because a lot of people, they say, well, you get that stuff for free. But the minute it hits our door, it is no longer free. We spend a lot of labor hours cleaning, repairing. I mean, Randall hangs on to everything because he can fix everything. So he'll take a broke down washer or dryer until it is just a shell of something because he will get every valuable piece off of it and fix other things. It's a great opportunity for these men in this program to learn these skills, these marketable skills. So I think that's really important to say. So when time it hits our floor, you know, it isn't something that just gets handed straight to us and puts out on the floor to sell. There's a lot of love and labor and sweat and things into those items. But yes, and the point, you know, we have the two enterprise stores here, and then we have Elba and Geneva, our outline stores. It's very important, you know, not only do they bring in revenue, the outline stores, but it's also the conduit to where individuals at these smaller communities can get assistance through those bargain stores because a lot of people don't have transportation or gas to get to our main office to see Miss Lisa. But we have been very blessed. God has blessed us through them stores, and because I don't know how it happens, but every week, we're able to, as we say in our office, fight another week.
That's it. So when you receive those donations and get them fixed and those things, how do you ensure that the quality and value of those items can successfully fund the ministries and the programs of the mission?
Yeah.
The quality. We do something that most people don't do. Okay, it's in this type of business. We actually warranty stuff.
Really?
Yes, sir. If you buy electronic for us, you got 14 days. Anything goes wrong with it, we bring it back. If we can't exchange it out for another one just like it or better, we give you your money back. Washers and dryers, refrigerators, stuff like that, 30 days. Anything goes wrong with it for 30 days, we replace it or refund it. You know, and there's very few people that puts warranty in the thrift store business.
I go to a lot of thrift stores. Never seen that.
Once you walk out the door, it's yours.
Yep.
That's like clothes. If you go and buy some clothes and they don't fit you, as long as you leave the tags on, bring them back with your receipt, we exchange them. You know, we go above and beyond. I owned some thrift stores back where I was from, and we go above and beyond to try to make everybody, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it's
Satisfied.
yeah, satisfied. That's a good word right there. Satisfied. But
Those shoppers are just as important that anybody who walks in our parking lot to hand us a check. That's right. Those shoppers, and I don't even think they realize what it means to shop with us, or what that donation of that shirt when you're cleaning out old Mary Sue's closet, what that means when you bring that stuff to us, how those donations they're revolving a blessing, because whether it's vouchered out through Lisa's office when somebody needs help with clothing, or vouchered out, give it to our New Life students, or sold on that rack where that money then is put back in to the benevolent fund or up at New Life. It's a big old puzzle, and we put all the pieces together to get the beautiful picture that we do all the time. So
that's a good one.
I can say that I've answered phone calls before, and people would tell me that they wanted to give their stuff to somebody, but they didn't want it sold. But once I explained to them how we work and what we do and the process, and that if somebody needs it, we give it to them for nothing.
Yeah.
But the rest is put out into our store and sold to be able to fund the ministry in the monetary ways that we assist. And once I tell them that, they are very willing and to donate and want to support.
Yeah, and I think some of the misconceptions, a big one that I've heard people say and things, and I always try to give them a little bit of education behind the keyboard, on comments on Facebook and things. But people always say, well, I don't know if I really want to donate my stuff to the mission because I want it to go to someone in need, and they turn around and sell it. So how could you answer that misconception? And I think we've done a pretty good job already answering. This goes right back into programming and those sorts of things. But if someone in the kindest, greatest, most gracious way said that to you across the table, what would you say? What would be your response?
Our response
to I don't really want to bring my items because it's going to be sold and not given.
That's not true, though.
That's right.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Everything we do is not sold.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't a student that comes through them doors that pays for anything.
Right.
Nothing. And there ain't nobody that goes down there and sees Miss Lisa that needs something that pays for anything. We fill vouchers after vouchers after vouchers every day, all day, of especially with clothes and with blankets right here when I got cold.
Yeah.
Refrigerators, washers, dryers, couches, beds, every week, and we don't charge nothing, and we take it to their house for them and don't charge them to and set it up, and don't charge them to set it up. That's all a cost that we are taking on because we had to go pick it up, start with, clean it, and then take it out there to them. So it's a huge cost involved in all.
Box trucks are expensive. If you don't know about a box truck, if you don't know about auto insurance, property insurance, liability insurance, because of the type of organization we are, first of all, there is only there's about only 4 or 5 companies nationwide that will insure an organization like ours because we're such high exposure because of the demographic that we serve. Which really stinks. And so that is a huge, huge expense that I don't think people really, really realize. And they would really, it would kind of very much surprise them if they had an idea. Any of our local insurance companies, they know because I've tried to get them to quote our package before, and they usually are like, just to be quite honest, it's really eye-opening. But if a person comes into the mission and says, here, I have this vehicle, because we take vehicles. We got a
camper trailer.
We had a camper trailer.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, a gentleman donated that camper trailer. That's a donation that helped many. That camper trailer, we sold it below market value, to a young, just newly married couple where she was expecting and they needed a place to stay immediately. They were so proud to be able to buy that and move in it. And the money from the proceeds of that is designated to renovate the little block house on our corner that somebody that's been living in our shelter for years is going to be able to live in. So that's what, if somebody comes in and they says, here, I got an old vehicle, I want to make sure one of those New Life students gets it. That's what we do. We are very serious about our designations and honoring our donors and our contributors' wishes.
So if someone brings something to be donated, even physical items, not just financial gifts, it can be designated for a variety of areas in the ministry.
Yeah, we get clothing all the time and blankets and all kinds of stuff.
That's great. That's great. So when you mentioned the shelter, and I know Miss Lisa and I email and text and talk every single day, whether it be about vouchers or shelter or hotels, whatever it may be. And the shelter, and to get in the program, you have to pass a drug screen. So can you give us some context on that, why you have to pass a drug screen, even for the shelter?
So one of the things I've only been here 3 years. I think I've been here the least amount of time. Even less than Brad. So one of the things when I first started was, well, if they're coming into the program, that's because they're not sober. Why do they need to pass a drug screen? And it took me a while to understand. It was through a class that I attended that if you are not properly detoxed, that could actually kill you. And we did not have. Now, there are other shelters nationwide that they'll take anybody, whatever, but they also have 24-hour security. They even have, some places have medical personnel on staff. Do you remember how much she said the New Life program costs?
Yeah.
So to have the proper personnel and staffing and all of that, we just can't afford it. It's a huge, and then the insurance. So, and the other thing is, when somebody's coming off of drugs or alcohol, we don't know how they're going to react. I get people in my office wanting shelter all the time, they want a motel room, but when I tell them I have a bed available, because of course I'm not going to spend money on the motel room if I have a bed available.
Amen.
And so when I tell them I have a bed in the shelter available, oh, no, I can't do a shelter because they've already been traumatized in a shelter somewhere else because it was probably a drop-in shelter that they were in. So part of that is to ensure that client safety, but also the safety of everyone else that's in that room.
Yeah, and that is our priority, because I had a lady stop in. I was at work on a Saturday working on something this past weekend, and my security called and said, "There's a lady out here. She's got a question, and she had somebody that she wanted to put in the shelter. That I don't know where she'd seen them, and she said, I don't understand. Why can't you put him in the shelter?" And I said, "Well, we possibly can." I was like, "We're going to need to see if he can pass a drug test." And then we always want to make sure they pass a warrants check, because we don't want to be harboring any fugitives. But she was like, "Well, I know that he can't pass a drug test." And I said, "Well, listen, right now I have somebody in our shelter, and just say that I say, okay, let's put him in there, and he attacks that man. I mean, are you going to sleep well at night knowing that we put this man in here, okay, and his safety? I don't have a security guard in that shelter. And just like certain medications we can't take, we're a recovery program. I don't have medical staff, so I can't have somebody with a narcotic in that shelter. And then once I pointed all that out, she was like, "That makes perfect sense." And I said, "Yeah, it's not just as simple as that." And then, we try, because we don't want to see anybody sleep outside or be cold. We don't want to see anybody transition out of our program. That stuff keeps us up at night. I mean, ministry work is not always easy.
Yeah.
It is not always easy. It is heartbreaking. but we do the best that we can. And so sometimes it does stink because we get a bad rep, or people don't want to take the time to find out the real reason or educate themselves. But we don't do it for them. We do it for the Lord. And so.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Brad. Sorry.
From a New Life perspective, our clients are there on site next to the shelter as well. If we have somebody that comes in that's still actively using, still in addiction, or still test positive, there's the risk of exposure to our clients. So it's about protecting them as well. They are, for me, my utmost concern is protecting them, their sobriety. If they were to come back, if my clients test positive, then I have to dismiss them and they're out on the street. So we can't allow anybody to be on site that's positive for something that we wouldn't allow our clients to be on site positive for.
Yeah.
But what is great though is, and I have to give a lot of credit to Lisa, because she has to pull me back sometimes. I just want to put them all in there.
You kind of
I want to put them in the shelter. So, but she does have a it's not, and our shelter is not just here's a shelter, here's a bed, sleep in it. She has created a good shelter program, because the ultimate goal is we don't want to keep putting Band-Aids on this stuff. We want to give them every opportunity, every tool that they need so they can be independent and they can stand on a firm foundation, so they don't need shelter 6 months from now. And the truth of the matter is, everybody walks through our door 90% of the time it's because of bad choices. Look, I can say that because I was a queen of making those bad choices for the majority of my life, and it was because of the kindness of the Christian Mission and the New Life Recovery Program. I know without a doubt that God used that place to save me and give me the new identity that I have, that I sit before you today, that has affected not just my life, but my whole family's life. It's changed everything. I forgot where I was even going with that. I'm sorry.
appreciate the shout out.
Yeah. Well, when you think about those verifications too that are so important, and we even when we do benevolence, we if they don't have an ID, that's part of that process. Keep a motel. I mean, the Bowie Lynn won't even take you without an ID. And so why is there so much required for verification in order to provide assistance?
So, as you can imagine, we still live in a broken world with broken people. And so we do have to make sure that this is not somebody that's trying to play the system. Now, it's my personal belief that every single person that comes in my office needs something, whether it's what they came in there for, or if it's just the primary thing that they need Jesus. Whatever it is, they all need something. Sometimes they don't even realize what they need. But we do have to verify specific things. I've had women claiming starving 6 children that needed food, and it turned out there was no children. Things like that. Now, how often does that happen realistically? That I have been able to, decipher that. I would say maybe no more than 15% of the people that come in. But on the other hand, we have maybe 20-30% of people that come in who they're in a crisis situation where something beyond their control, maybe it's a medical condition, maybe it's whatever. And because of the verification that they provide, that justifies us going above and beyond and jump through hoops to try and get this person help that a lot of times, as you well know, is beyond our means. We can't do it alone. We have to. And so when I call you and say, Brother Matt, I have this situation with this person and this is what's going on. Can you help us help them? I want you to trust that, that what I've done my due diligence.
That's right.
That I'm not just bleeding heart over here over a sob story that, may or may not be true. And then all the people in between are like Mandy said, most of them is poor money management, poor choices, or whatever. And that's where as a counselor I come in and they don't like it, but I point it out to them. Yeah. And I have to tell them like, okay, I don't understand why over the last couple months you know that you have a bill that needs to be paid, but you're saying somebody's been paying it, but you don't know who, and now you're not able to pay your bill. This is a true story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, you're responsible for this bill. What have you been doing to make sure that this bill is being paid instead of just relying on some anonymous? I mean, and I called a few people. Nobody knows who's been making these payments.
Mhm.
So, and being, we don't have, I mean, she told you how much we run, right? We don't have a whole lot of resource to, I know they sound like big numbers, 77%, but that's really not a lot compared to what comes in.
Yeah.
The volume of need that comes in. We can't match it. If we verified nothing and paid everything or assisted with everything, we wouldn't match it. We would have had to close our doors 41 years ago. We have to verify those things, but also counsel, where, okay, you gave your son $300 for brakes and now you can't pay your rent, and you're showing me the picture of this truck that's bling blinged, and I don't think that was a wise decision. And so that's why we do the verification. More than anything, too, it's just accountability and being good stewards of God's resources, because ultimately everything we have comes from the Lord.
Yeah. And how do you verify a real need? And I say a real need, I mean, kind of what you just said of being able to assess when someone has a real need for assistance before you provide it, and how are those policies in place to ensure fairness across the board?
So verification, well, we have our basics, ID, social security card, verification of income and expenses. The more you bring me, the more I'm able to work with you. We understand too, especially with like our homeless population, they're not going to have all this documentation in their front pocket. Not usually. They've done lost most of it if they have anything. And of course, they're homeless, so they're not going to have a lease agreement, things like that. So we work with what they bring us. I've done this enough where I feel like, and nobody's perfect. And let me just say, I know I don't always get it right. I'm doing the best I can with what I got. But, we're able to flesh out sometimes, you can, when they start telling you their story and what's going on, and you're like, wait a minute, but a minute ago you said this, now you're saying that. Like, I have to really listen to what they're telling me. There's a lot of plausibility in what they may be bringing in. For example, I had a young person, 19 years old, saying he got almost $1,000 in SSI, and he was paying $500 in life insurance. I don't think so. So things like that. But on the other hand, when you have somebody come in and maybe they don't have all the verification, but when they're providing their budget, their income expense information, their estimates, I also try to be realistic. Like, I've had a family of 4 saying, well, we just spend $100 a month on food. No, you don't, man. You spend more than that.
Have to.
So I try to make sure, because people just don't, they just don't think when they're estimating.
Right.
They're just trying to put something down. So I try to make sure that numbers are plausible, to make sure that their money is going where they say it is, if they have money.
Asking people if they need their power bill paid to bring in a copy of their power bill, I mean, I think it's pretty a reasonable requirement.
Yeah.
Or
we require the same.
or bring in something that shows if we do pay a check out of our general fund to assist with this bill, that you're going to be able to stay in that home for 30 days, or that power is going to be on. So really, our requirements are really realistic. Right now with the EBT and the government shutdown, anytime there's a crisis situation, we a lot of that stuff just falls to the wayside. Right now, if you need food, all we need is an ID and something that states that you have EBT funds that you will not be getting, and we're going to give you groceries. You don't have to do all the verification and stuff. Our main goal is to help people But like Lisa said, if we helped everybody through that came through the door and we didn't check anything, then when a person that comes through that really, truly needs that assistance, the funds aren't going to be there. We're not federally funded or state funded. Everything comes from the bargain stores and contributions that come in through our doors. They're just not.
And even like the shelter, when we have a freeze, we do away with the drug screen. We do away with a lot of this stuff because it's just 24 hours. It's a risk we take. It is a risk.
Yeah.
Because those safety concerns are still at play. But now we're talking about saving lives through, freezing temperatures. So, we got to weigh that out. But yeah, I do my utmost best to verify everything and work with it from there. But especially things like clothes and food, I'm very lenient. I think I'm very lenient on that.
But yeah, when it comes to clothing, food, and our vouchers through our stores, because God has blessed us with a lot of that, and that is a no-brainer when it comes to that kind of stuff. But we always try to, and like she said, sometimes we might not be able to give them exactly what they came in for, but we always try to assist. And because now, back when the mission was founded, it was founded on feeding people. It started with that, and Brother Johnny, taking that opportunity to pray and introduce Jesus to them. And then FEMA came along, and I think Christian Mission was one of the first participants in the FEMA program, Food and Shelter, Emergency Shelter Program. And that's when helping out financially with bill paying. We know FEMA, that we don't get those funds anymore. I think Trump shut all of that down. But so a lot of those guidelines came from that back then. But that paying $50 or $100 back then, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
The utility bills that come in now and the rental assistance now, it does take, Lisa, working with you at First Methodist and DHR and First Baptist and however many other churches and networks. So it is truly, it's awesome to see everybody come together to be able to make these needs and assist. But because they're doing it that way, we do have to verify. Because like Lisa said, y'all got to trust when she calls, just like we trust when an agency calls and says, hey, I got this person. I need this. I need help with this. So
yeah. And I can tell you, folks come in and whether we're sending a referral or whatever it may be, and it's not abnormal to see somebody's rental assistance on the cheap end be $600, $700, $800, and power bills north of $200 for small homes, and oftentimes not safe homes.
they did, yeah.
Yeah. So I know you have walk-in hours. Folks can come by. Why do you have walk-in hours, and how can someone come in and get assistance after hours?
So we have a security that is there until during the week they're there until 9, and on the weekends it's 11, where they can call. They know how to assess the situation on that, and they'll call Miss Lisa or they'll call myself, where we can still assist in crisis situations after hours on that, and then also the city and the police force, they have our personal cell phone numbers if there's an emergency situation that comes with that. So
that's great.
Most of the things. We talked about our shelter and New Life. I mean, we haven't even touched base on all the food.
Well, that was my next question. Yes. I have I first met Brad taking a group of students up there to crush boxes and reorganize shelves. So tell us about the food pantry and the warm plates, the meal deliveries, how that works. Because I think oftentimes people look at the mission and they say, well, I can't go there for assistance because I don't really have a financial need of assistance, and I don't have any type of addiction problem. What kind of assistance can I get at the mission?
Well, with our food, like I said, the mission was basically really kind of founded on feeding the hungry. And it's grown quite a bit. It's grown quite a bit. Just the number of hot meals. Go ahead. You give an example. You've watched it.
Like I said, I started in 1997, and at that point, if we saw 10 people a week, that was a busy week.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we could see 10 to 15 people a day on some days. So the need may have been here in 1997, but we weren't seeing the volume that we're seeing today. I'm sure the need was still out there. They just didn't come in for whatever reason. But like I said, if we saw 15 people a week, that was a busy week. And so it has grown very, very, very much since 1997. And I think probably when I first started, we did have the hot meals for the homebound, but it was only 2 days a week. It was on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I would guesstimate that we probably fed 100 people a week, maybe through the hot meals to the homebound.
That was three, and that was Enterprise.
Now when we started the 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, at one point we were serving probably 250 to 300 plates a week.
300 plates on Friday.
Yeah. So that tells you how much that program has grown since 1997. And that's just since I've been here.
So how many do y'all feed with the homebound meals now?
And we just came
Currently, there's 84 recipients Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
256 meals. We counted it the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 256 meals.
256 meals a week.
We've actually kind of had to cap it because those volunteers deliver that. And if a volunteer calls out, then staff, and we're so slim on our staff.
Yeah.
And right now, until we get more volunteers, we can't extend that. I mean,
so when I started at the mission, I was food service director in 2022. The homebound meals, we delivered 140 meals or 150 meals just to Enterprise 3 days a week. We sent 80-something meals to Geneva on Friday and 120 or 130 meals to Elba 3 days a week. Then, after about a year, maybe a year and a half, we saw a huge reduction in volunteers. So initially, the volunteers out of Geneva pulled out, and so there was nobody to deliver those meals anymore. And then the group of, it's a pastors coalition, and the group of people that were doing it out of Elba kind of quit picking up. It just stopped. So the pastors coalition lost their volunteers, the group of volunteers they had. So like the need is still there. It's not that the people aren't there that need the food. It's just the mission needs volunteers. We need people willing. Geneva County is a service area for the Christian mission, like our store is there. We need people willing to deliver the food. Like we would love to serve the people, but we just don't have people to deliver. Same way with Elba. I mean, there were 100 plus people that needed the food a couple of years ago. You know they're still there.
Right.
We just need the people to deliver. So the homebound meals are intended for people that physically can't cook for themselves. Elderly, disabled, someone that even mentally challenged, somebody that can't physically cook or it's unsafe, a mother that's got 5 or 6 kids that had surgery recently is in need of something to get her by. We've done that before too, to help her until she can recover enough to, cook for her children and take care of herself. But that's the purpose of homebound meals, is we can deliver them and take care of them, and that way at least service them those 3 meals a week and provide something. But we know the need is out there. It's just a matter of having a way to get them to people.
Yeah. Well, other than the homebound meals, I know y'all also have ways people can pick up food. So how many do you service in that? Can people just show up? Do they enroll? How does that work if you just pick up a hot plate by the kitchen?
So our walk-up meals are intended for people who don't have a place to serve, store and prepare food. So homeless people, but also people who maybe they're in a house, but they don't have power or water or something like that. Stone. Any deficiency like that they they otherwise can't get food. They can come in 3 times a day. We do have specific hours because of our staffing issues and all the moving parts and pieces.
Client meals.
Yeah, that's why it's set at specific times that they can come and get food. And I do qualify them. I do, they do have to apply. We make sure, again, we verify as much as we can.
But I'm going to stop you there. If somebody comes in there and they're hungry and they don't have an ID, they do not just get turned away. That is a huge misconception out in the community. Even when we have somebody that is disruptive, or because we're not going to have people come up there and start cussing people out, and we've seen them fighting at the food window. Lisa will ground them from the mission for a couple of weeks, but we do have little bags that we give because we are not going to see anybody go hungry. So I just want to put that out there.
And so we do ask them if they have ID, but if they don't, that's not an automatic turn away.
Sure.
No.
We try to work with what we got. But those are for walk-ups. And then for those that just are facing food insecurity, that, maybe they are working, but they're having trouble making ends meet. They have children, and they can even be on food stamps, but the food stamps is still not enough a lot of times. And so that's when they can come and get food from the pantry, which is a grocery cart, just like you get the grocery store, full of food. And depending on their family size, 1 to 3 boxes of frozen meats, an assortment of frozen meats. We write it off around $500, but really, truly, that's about $1,000 worth of food in today's market. And so it's a good little bit. And then we have those people that are kind of in between, where wherever they're staying, they can't really come in 3 times a day for a meal, and they don't have a place to store and prepare food. So with them, I'll give them a bag of food, and they can come and get that about once a month is what we tell them, just to kind of, again, just trying to be fair and equitable towards everybody. So now with the EBT crisis happening, where our plan is to, we do have to make sure that they have an active food stamp case and an ID to ensure that that's who's on the case. But we're going to reduce what we give out to a couple banana boxes of food, depending on, again, we're going to base that on family size. And give them a quicker turnaround that they can come back. So we're trying to spread what we got to reach further to meet as much need as possible.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Last night, I think we gave out over 6,000 pounds of food out of our pantry. But we are partners with Wiregrass Food Bank, and because the mission's been around and for 42 years, when truck drivers get turned away from deliveries for whatever reason, we're the go-to spot. They'll say, we got 12 pallets of milk, and we don't turn anything away. So we'll say
onions.
Onions or toothpaste, just the most random stuff, and we take it, and then we get it on. We go through. We got so many agencies we call, from smaller food banks and churches to like the House of Ruth or Crossover or Coffee County Jail. Matter of fact, I seen Sheriff Byrd Monday, and he said, "You got some more of that chicken for me?"
Yeah.
I said, "You heard about the EBTs?" He said, "Oh, you're gonna need your chicken. Let me know if you need some of mine."
Yeah. Well,
because it takes all of us.
I tell you what, one day Lisa called me and said, "Brother Matt, I've got some pretzels, frozen pretzels, in a box if y'all want them." And they said, "We don't have room to store them. The truck just delivered them." I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll come over and pick them up." She said, "Well, we'll bring them to you." I said, "Okay." And here they come, and it was a whole pallet of boxes of frozen pretzels. And I was like, what in the world have I just got myself into? How in the world am I going to give out all these pretzels? We gave them for VBS. We did them for CR. We did them for Wednesday night. And I think, as a matter of fact, our freezer went down on us the other day, and I found 2 boxes in the bag. And that was a couple years ago. So
Willie White, same thing. He came in. I said, "You just brought that car?"
And I will say that walk-up meals has grown considerably in the 28 years I've been here as well, because I mean we've always had a walk-up meal program. We didn't always have very many come. If we had 50 to 100 a month, that was a lot. Last month, we served over 1,000 walk-up meals.
It's walkers.
So, you know, that's seeing a lot of people a day.
Yeah.
That's feeding a lot of people three times a day.
I pulled the numbers up here. The food pantry, not the food pantry. Well, the food pantry helped over 1,300 individuals and families last year, but the kitchen served over 60,000 meals out of the kitchen for 2024.
60,000.
Over 60,000 meals served. But the reality is, if you look at the homeless population, the amount of people that need help in Enterprise, that's not even, I don't know, maybe half of it. Because if you go across the circle down Rucker Boulevard, you know there's a lot of people in need. There's a homeless population there that's unserviced.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just a portion of Enterprise and the need there is. It's just a matter of getting it to them.
Yeah. Well, we've partnered together in the past with the point in time count. That's right. And I think the last numbers were like 125 homeless people in the Wiregrass. And every one of us were like, that is an absolute lie. That is not true. There's that in Enterprise.
They're hiding. That's why they're being counted.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
So,
And I'll say to you that when the walk-ups come up, a lot of times they come in early or whatever, and I don't get to do it every day all the time, but I do try to go out there and pray with them and encourage them, and so they get fed. My goal is to feed them not just physically, but also spiritually.
yeah.
Yes.
And it's cute when something good happens to them, and they get so excited, and they come and see Miss Lisa. They'll knock on her window or something. They'll be like, Miss Lisa, whatever it is. I finally talked to my mom, or it's really. Or tell Miss Lisa I got a job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Because it's a D, I got an idea.
That's it. We had somebody come by and bless it, you could hardly read the ID. I mean, it was a paper copy, you know, and they had folded it up. So made them a fresh copy, and Janice laminated it for them. And they were like, "Oh man, I'm not going to lose this." You know, it's just so excited. Right. And but when you think about the mission, it's been around 42 years. And with that, this is what we've heard, you know, the needs have grown to 50 to 100 a month to 1,000, 60,000 plates, you know, all of this in operation of what you do just through the bargain stores and donations, no state and federal funding. What do you think sustained the ministries of the mission over these 42 years?
Serving God.
Lord.
Amen.
His blessing, that's the only thing.
Yes, we walk outside. Randall said we need a new AC for it's broken. We need 4,200. I walk out to the car and somebody will wander up and it'll be $4,200 in a check.
It's amazing how it's,
Time and time again. I mean,
Just like,
you know, we are really tight. You know, it's really tight. And we're sitting there battling, trying to figure out how it is, and all of a sudden it just pops up. You know, we all say, there he comes again.
Yeah.
And it
keeps us humble.
Yeah, just say, it's not just him financially. I mean, even spiritually, there's days that you just don't see how you're going to make it. We call it the days of our lives, or as the mission turns. There's days that you just don't know how you're going to make it, but the more you lean into him, the more he restores you, restores your faith, restores your trust in people in general, and just that refreshing that comes from him.
Yeah, I go upstairs get counseling from
I mean, I had one of them real bad days. We go upstairs and talk prayer.
That's it. So what are the goals of the missions the next 5 years?
Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to end up opening up another bargain store in Troy, because unfortunately, due to COVID, the bypass, and just economics, the Elba store, we've got our Elba bargain store for sale because we just can't keep the doors open. And like we said, a big part of these bargain stores are to be able to support our ministries. And so we're wanting to go back to Troy to help increase our income, but also to bring a good sized food pantry to that community, which would make Pike County our service area, in addition to our service areas. We would also like to increase our shelter program, some hopeful on some different property in that area where we can, because that is a need. That is a huge need. Right now, the way our shelter is set up is if there's a male in the shelter, then we can only house another male. And if it's a female, same thing. But we would like to have it set up in a way where we have a male shelter, a shelter designated for women, and then a little apartment that we just keep saved in case a family comes through. Because we want that shelter program. Not everybody needs a recovery program. Some people just need help with life skills and budgeting, and that's where Lisa's done a tremendous job with cultivating a good shelter program. And then we would love to see our community clinic really grow into something bigger. It's really been a blessing for these students, because especially living in communal living, they get sick. They all get sick, and they're going to the ER, which is clogging up the ER. Bottlenecking on the ER, and then it's setting these people up, for an expense. That's right. But we want that clinic to also be open to those people that walk in and see Lisa, because they have medical needs too.
Yeah.
And I will say that we had one fella come in on Monday of this week. I couldn't get him in the clinic this week because we already had a full clinic. But I have set him an appointment for next week. And so that'll be our first person to come to the clinic that's just from our community.
That's awesome.
And let me share about that clinic. Not only is he seeing patients, and we have the Enterprise State Community College LPN nurses come and help and assist him, but we also have a small pharmacy, no narcotics, but we're able to help with antibiotics and blood pressure medicine, because they don't have insurance, and that stuff's expensive. And so that's been a tremendous help. But we would love to see it grow into something bigger and similar to like Love in Action. That's our hope, and to just continue to help people.
If I'm not mistaken, I think right now a lot of the medication, like especially the blood pressure medicine, Dr. Sawyer has been providing it out of pocket.
Yeah.
So to be able to see like maybe some more medical personnel staff in the community come behind him and help out, contribute financially or even with time or something
Absolutely.
There's a lot of need there. And you don't realize that. We had a client that came in the program, and bless his heart, he was diagnosed with COPD once he got here, working in the warehouse where it's dusty and hot in the middle of the summertime. And he's down there struggling to breathe, and we're trying to, the only thing he can do, because you can't get insurance because he doesn't make any income. So in Alabama, you don't qualify for Medicaid because there's this gap you fall into. If you're not familiar with it, it's terrible, but all of our clients fall into this gap where they just don't qualify for insurance. So the only way that he was able to get help was through another clinic, another person. It was Dr. Leanne Kettman at the time. But otherwise, he struggled with COPD, struggled with breathing problems, and just struggling. And I never realized it was an issue, as big an issue it was, until I was at New Life and trying to help this guy get insurance. I just assumed, hey, we sign up for government health care and he can get on it, and no big deal. No, that's not how it works. That's the reason the clinic's so important. There's a lot of people in the community that fall into that gap to where they are desperately in need. Otherwise, they end up at the emergency room in debt with bills and no real long-term solution, just whatever fixes the immediate problem.
Hey, one thing, she was talking about we were selling Elba, but we're not closed. We're still open. So y'all come on down to Elba too.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
It is still open right now. It is still open. And if you want to buy, I've got a nice building, and you get a great deal.
What do you think the biggest misconception is of the Christian mission? You just had to hit the nail on the head. The one thing people don't understand, or are confused about. What's the biggest one?
It's
Everything is free.
big bank account full of millions of dollars, okay? And there's no mystery person behind the scenes collecting all that money. I'm just saying.
And then
We just regular people
Yeah, so
that's serving the Lord, trying to live one day to the next and trying to give somebody else opportunity to get what we got. That's what we all about. That's what I'm all about. That's why I'm here, because I want somebody else to get what they gave me.
Sure.
That's it for me.
What I saw when I first, I didn't know if I wanted to come work at the mission at first because of some things that I'd seen and heard, and one of which was that they never help anybody. And so coming in, especially as one of the primary helpers, if you will, when I started 3 years ago, I would tell people, and I've got the numbers to prove it, I would spend probably a write-off total of about $10,000 a month of mission assets, money, food, whatever. That's gone up now to like $20,000 a month. So I think because we can't go out there and say, "Hey, everybody, meet Sally Sue. We paid her, $500 power bill, or we helped her get her rent paid," or they don't see that, so they don't think that we are helping people, but we are. We may not be able to do everything all the time for everyone, but we're doing the best we can with what we got to get to the most needs.
that's true.
But one of the things about it, though, is we don't advertise that except to one person, that man up there. If we get him right, we are right.
That's
You know what I'm saying? That's the only person we got to prove anything to. That's the good Lord above.
That's right.
Okay. And that's why he always provides. He blesses us each and every day, and has given so many people opportunities and chances to live out their purpose and their calling. And so I'm just lucky to be a part of it. And I'm going to tell you, the staff that we have there, they're committed. We have some very committed staff where you've been like, you can't work off the clock. That's illegal. You have to clock in. I mean, they're committed. They are really committed to what we do. And it's just beautiful to see it and be a part of it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, just one or two questions left, but how does the mission measure that impact and assure accountability to the community and the donors? You can't share the stories oftentimes and those sorts of things, but how do you measure the impact of the mission and the footprint when donors ask, and the board's a different animal, but to the community and those things, how do you measure that impact?
So we do try to share some stories. If you check the Facebook, you check our website, you can see some stories, depending on clients that come back and share their testimony from New Life, or meal recipients that are willing to allow us to share their story. You can see some of those things. Those are out there, but otherwise,
we have a assistance report. Maria every person that comes through that door, Lisa, we use Charity Tracker, which is a wonderful program that if you are offering outreach, Charity Tracker is that is the system. But every year we have an annual assistance report. We have a monthly report. Maria can.
every month I keep up with how many people we assist with what and how much that it costs for us to provide that assistance. So if anybody ever has a question about what we've done or haven't done, we're an open book.
That's right.
At the mission. If you want to see how many we've helped, how much we've helped in a month, come by the office. I'll be glad to give you one of our assistance reports.
That's right.
It shows you what all we help with, how many people we helped through that particular service, and how much it cost us.
That's right.
To provide that service for our community for that month. And then, as Mandy said, at the end of the year, I do the same thing. I look at it, and we have a assistance report for the year, and it tells you how many people we help for the year with each type of assistance broken down and the amount of money it cost for that particular assistance for the year. We're glad to share that with anybody that would like to see it.
And we even track what we give to other organizations, and because we're accountable to Wiregrass Food Bank, we have to report to that. We are members and accredited with ECFA, which is the Evangelistic Financial Council.
What's that thing?
ECFA. But and then we every three we have a CPA firm that goes through our financials. We are very serious when it comes to our donors' money, where that stuff goes, how we track it, how we can easily show where that money goes. Because like Lisa said, this is God's resources, and we're going to make sure it's spent and put where it's supposed to be.
And that's also one of the reasons for the verifications that we ask for, because during those audits, that's our paper trail.
That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, last question I have, and it's kind of for everybody. So just take 15 seconds and each one of you share what you want everybody to know about the mission just from your heart, right? Just of the one thing that you want to leave everybody with before we close.
I'll tell you, start. For me, it saved my life, put my family back together, and it showed me that the good Lord will forgive anybody, And I feel like that I owe the mission the rest of my life because they gave me my life back, I'd lost my kids, my grandkids, couldn't see none of them, but the mission restored all that through God in the mission. Would have been for mission here because I'd have been out there crazy. But he brought me in here, showed me all this, and now we're all back together. Now I can show them the right way, not the way I used to live.
Last night, we had a worship team show up at Wednesday night service. It was pretty loud for some folks, but I was sitting in the back in that media room, and I was watching these students in the back row, because usually got some in the back row, and they were crying and they were hugging and they were praying for each other. And I was like, thank you, God. Thank you for giving me an opportunity, because 11 years ago, I couldn't imagine standing right where I'm at and being a part of this and being a witness to this. And I'm just so thankful. And I wouldn't go anywhere and do anything else.
Well, I can honestly say God brought me here 28 years ago. I was not looking for a job when I came here. I was working a job, but God opened this door, and he opened this door for me because what I got when I came here was family. I can't tell you how much in the years, just in the last 5 years, how much love they've shown me just for things that I have gone through personally. And what I want for everybody that comes through those doors is to feel the love of Christ like I do. Every time I walk in these doors, and I know I'm loved by everybody here. Not just these that are sitting with me, but everybody that works here. And I really want that for the people that come in to feel the love of Christ. That's my ultimate goal, I would think, at this point.
Good.
When I started at the mission 3 years ago, I thought I was a pretty good Christian. But God has challenged me tremendously. He challenges me with clients, but also with coworkers. Mandy challenges me. And he challenges me with just the reality of life, the gap of insurance that he talked about, the I see somebody that should be getting food. I see elderly people only getting $20 in food stamps. I'm like, why can't they get more? It just things like that challenges me because it's like, gosh, I mean, the need is real and we only have so much. And it's like, Lord, what do I do with all of this? So it is very challenging. And I feel like he's growing me in ways, but more than anything, I love the people that I work with because even if we don't agree, and sometimes we don't because we're human, we all know that we all just want to help people. And we're just really, all we're disagreeing on is the best way to do it. That's the bottom line. So whatever's going on, we are doing our absolute best to help people.
I guess if I could say anything, don't be ashamed. Like, there's so much going on with the SNAP benefits being cut off, the EBT cards being zero balance, with families hurting, whether you're coming for food assistance, whether you're coming for addiction recovery, whether you just need somebody to talk to and you want to sit down with Brother Ron Ball for counseling, which, by the way, he'll come and meet with you. We offer that as well, just free counseling. Whatever it is you're dealing with in your life, there's no judgment at the Christian Mission. There's no judgment in New Life Recovery. We all have a past. I'm imperfect. I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. The thing is, we're all called to serve. We're servants, and we're here to serve you in whatever way that ends up being. Just come and see us. Come let us love on you. Come let us show you the love of God, show you his love in action. I think the hardest thing sometimes is for somebody to put aside their pride, to put aside shame and ask for help, especially in the time we're in now where people that have never done without before, especially people that are civil service, government employees who are without work, now losing EBT and SNAP benefits. It's hard. It's hard. But you don't have to feel judged. You don't have to feel like less of a man or a woman, less of a person just because you're struggling, because we've all been there too.
That's right.
So don't let pride keep you from asking for help.
It calls us to love one another. We're all at the feet of Jesus.
We're just a church that's open 6 days a week.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Well, friends, my coffee cup is empty, but I hope that the cup of your soul, like mine, is overflowing. And I hope that through this Q&A and this time together that you've been encouraged, challenged, educated, and even convicted of ways that you can volunteer and serve, and that you'll continue to support the mission and increase those ways, especially as you have seen the needs that they have and the needs that they meet. So thank you for being a part of the No, Grow, Go podcast. Make sure to share, make sure to follow, make sure to share this with everyone that you know. We want to get the word out about all the mission does, especially as things in the world are going the way they are with the government shutdown and all the other contributing factors to that. So make sure to share, make sure to follow, and make sure to go and find ways to support the mission. Thanks for being part of the No, Grow, Go podcast. Y'all have a great week.